Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Listen to what Fisher said, the former Fed governor.
We front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish a wealth effect.
That's right. Did you hear that? They took the stock market, front-loaded it, ran it 200%, so we ended up not only with a fake stock market, but fake GDP, fake money, fake jobs, fake prices, fake everything. But we took advantage of that, and we're going to take advantage again. That's why I told my gang in May to short the market on 5/29. That's May 29th. I'm telling you to short the stock market. And we were right. And the market went down over 11%. That's why you got to join my gang and learn how to short stocks just as much as buying them. Learn how to short with me, Phil Grande at philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
AMVA, and I've lost over 30K on it, but it had excellent earnings the last several quarters, and if they make the cameras and drone equipment, I don't know why it's so weak these days.
It's so weak these days because you don't pay attention to what they make. You don't care about their earnings. The problem is the institutions are pulling their money out, and that's all you need to know, and that's what we identify in the chart, and that's why I become a Phil's Gang member.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, it's been 7 years now since Obama ordered his Fed chairman to lower the savings rate from 5% to less than 0.25%. With a false narrative, it would spur economic growth and jobs. Everyone would have an opportunity in this economy. That's what he said. But what it spurred was a front-loading of the biggest, fake, unsustainable stock market rally of 200%. That's what it spurred. Now, most people did not participate in that rally because people got out of their 401k in 2009. And they said, just get me out. I want nothing but fixed income. And they got killed because with low interest rates, fixed incomes get murdered. You got to know what you're doing. If you're going to really retire, you got to be associated with the stock market. That's why you come to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Everybody was asking me, how did I know to short Ford when it was November? And it was when Aunt B was telling us everything was fine. Well, what people didn't know is Aunt B was lying to us because when she was raising the rates, machinery sales were down 5.6%, computers were down 8.7%, communication equipment sales down 21%. I took a look at our chart and I saw that institutions were pulling money out of Ford. So we said, let's short Ford. And we did that in November, on November 10th, because my charts told me there was a big sell signal, and we took advantage of it. And you know that stock Ford has now dropped 17%. That's the return my gang has now, 17%. Don't follow any of the jibber-jabber from CNBC or the Fed. Follow me, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. What is Phil's Gang? PhilsGang.com is a subscription website service that host Phil Grande has been teaching and providing daily stock investment recommendations for over 15 years, all in the name of making its customers educated investors and helping the kids at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If you want to take charge of your financial future, then do not wait any longer. For only $49.95, become a Phil's Gang member today. Go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
Saber que el tratamiento es completamente gratis nos quita una preocupación de encima.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything's been taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude. At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything's been taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
There's nothing easy about running for president, I can tell you. It's tough, it's nasty, it's mean, it's vicious, it's beautiful.
That's Trump for you. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. Hope you had a good weekend, exciting weekend. Well, of course, Trump won his deal, but that was no surprise. As we move on now, Super Tuesday, go to all these different states, we'll see what happens. How's that affect the market? Is that the reason why the market's up today? No, not at all. You know what they're telling us the reason why the market's up? Oil. Oil's surging. You know why they said? Because production, the rigs in the United States, declined more than they anticipated. So that's why oil prices are up. Isn't it amazing? There's always some story. It just drives you crazy. So now they're saying, hey, the production is down. Rigs are down. We don't have as many rigs producing. So, man, let's push oil up. Next week could be something else. That's why you can't listen to these guys on Wall Street. You got to follow the money. When the money goes in, you buy. When the money comes out, you get out. It's that simple. But again, I mean, it just does drive you crazy. It really does. Now, we also heard today this.
As you know, it's been the consumer that has really kept the U.S. economy growing here, but not so much in terms of their willingness to spend in the retail segment. So I don't think they're going to be quite as influential as they might otherwise be.
First he says, well, it's the consumer, but maybe not. And then we have this. This is another reason why the market's going up today.
The Dow is up more than 250 points, led by United Technologies. News that Honeywell and UTX may be talking about a deal. The NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are also higher. Pretty good start to the week for.
So is it Honeywell, United Technology, or is it, again, the oil prices are surging? On news that the number of production rigs in the United States declined by more than the economists anticipated? Well, which one is it? Honeywell? Oil? Consumer? You got to forget all that. You know, it's amazing. If you take Goldman Sachs and you take all the, last week was President's Day, I remember, and we were off, it was a holiday, and Goldman Sachs comes out and says to start shorting gold. I go, what? Start shorting gold? It's what they did in 2013. They said in 2013, start shorting gold. But what do we find out? They were buying gold. Same thing was going on President's Day. They said, oh, told everybody, short gold. Told their clients short gold. Well, they're buying it while they're telling their clients to short gold. Now let's look where gold is. Gold's going through the roof again. We started to buy gold. We bought AU in November. It's up about 40% because nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it. So that's why we took a look at it. And right now, if this market's going to continue to rally, you want to start looking at the sectors that have been driven down. What caused the market to drop? The banks. You know the banks right now are doing terribly, but this market's going up? That makes no sense. The banks doing awful. You can't have a market rally sustain itself unless the banks are leading, and they're not leading. They are behind. Nobody's telling you that. So they're telling us United Technology up, Honeywell's up. That's why the market's up. The market's up because oil rigs we don't have as many oil rigs producing, so oil's going up. This moved the market up. But none of it can hold because the banks aren't going up. But nobody's telling you about the banks. The other thing you want to watch is the consumer discretionary. XLY is the symbol. XLY is the symbol. You also want to follow the energy symbol, XLE. So the best thing to do is let the market tell you which way the money is flowing. You always follow the money. So we're going to continue. My subscribers, I told them, and I told them this last Friday. Listen to this. That market wrap. This is exactly what I said on Friday. So we just got to see what we're going to wake up to Monday morning. I mean, we just don't know what these characters are going to do come Monday morning. I mean, there's no reason we can't wake up Monday morning and we could be gapped up 300 points. You know how they operate. They just got to come up with a story. That's all. They got to come up with a story.
The Dow is up more than 250 points, led by United Technologies, News, and Honeywell.
So I said Friday, over the weekend, I said, you watch, they're going to come up with a story. And that's what they did today. So don't get excited about this rally. Remember, it's always earnings that drive stocks. But that hasn't happened for 9 years. So now it's printing money and pumping it into the market. And that's exactly what's going on. We're now finding out Europe, they're doing so bad that Europe, their central banks right now are going to start printing and printing and printing money, and they're going to just dump it right into their economy. They're going to start plowing cash into their economy. Here we go again. It's amazing. So that's another reason why the market's up. Because of the announcement that Draghi said, head of the ECB, President Mario Draghi says he is going to start printing money and he's going to start supporting their economy, their stock market, by pumping all kinds of money into the market again. See, there's no such thing as earnings anymore. Isn't it amazing? So let's see. So now Draghi's telling us he's going to put all kinds of money, print it, pump it in the economy in Europe. So that's another reason why the market's up. Honeywell, United Technology, that's why market's up. Oil rig count's down, that's why it's up. You know why the market's up? Simple. Because there's more people buying stocks than selling stocks. And that's all you want to know. And that's why you should be a subscriber to Phil's Gang, because that's what we follow. When people are buying stocks, more people are buying the institutions I'm talking about than we buy. When they take their money out, we take our money out. We don't buy. We sell short. Markets are going up because they want to go up. Markets are going up because they're making them go up. It's that simple. It's that simple. And you know, and again, I don't understand why anybody would listen to Goldman Sachs. I don't get that. Goldman Sachs had displayed such lack of integrity over the last 7-8 years. Lack of ethics. Why does anybody follow them? But their clients still do. When they speak, their clients still listen. And they lose money. Just like I said, President's Day, February 15th, they said, sell your gold, short gold. And Goldman Sachs was buying it. Same thing in 2013. It was interesting. Remember last week, Savage? Savage was talking about the banks, about Goldman Sachs. I couldn't believe this.
Okay, I don't know why Goldman Sachs is the enemy, by the way. They're not my enemy. I have nothing against investment banks. I don't know where you get this from. This is a kind of a peasant-like hatred of rich people. When did banks become the enemy of America?
Banks became the enemy of America when they joined the World Bank. When Goldman Sachs and the World Bank and our government got together, and they would take poor countries, and Goldman Sachs would screw them. And we'll talk about that in stocks when we get back. 15 past the hour here on Phil's Gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande.
Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by philsgang.com.
Stock Corner is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel. Go to philsgang.com, click on the video channel graphic, and check out Phil's free videos on the market, economy, and current events.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang and to Stock Corner. Let's take a look at some of the stocks. I want to remind you, you can become a subscriber at Phil's Gang, and you should try, if you do become a subscriber, why don't you check out first one of the programs, one of many, but our Working Investor program. Because right now, it's a great opportunity because we're going to take the S&P 500 to spiders, the 500 best companies in the world, SPY is the symbol, and in that group, every day at 1:15 it starts, and if you can't be, that's okay, it's archived, and we're going to have a coach. JR coaches it every day. It's going to take the working investors, take the S&P 500, and guide you every day. Nothing better than the S&P 500. Now you can have all our other programs. You become a gang. Remember, you're invited to them all. But I'm just suggesting this is where you should start. We're also going to be looking at a sector, the energy sector, because if the energy sector is going to go up, there's an exchange traded fund, XLE, and he's going to be coaching you and guiding you. JR will be coaching and guiding you on XLE in that working investor group. So we'll be watching energy. We'll be watching our banks. XLF is our bank symbol. And it's a great opportunity. It really is for somebody who has never used charting. Because charting tells you everything. You know, it's amazing. We have the gang, my subscribers, copper is up over 45%. One of our gold mining stocks up 38%. Now, nobody wanted these two stocks. Nobody wanted them. Remember how everybody said, "Oh, it was terrible. Don't get involved with gold mining, especially copper." Nobody wanted copper, but we did, and we waited using our charts. We identified when the institutions were putting money in again, and there's the results. Copper up 45%, and our gold mining stock up 38%. Now, I'm not suggesting each one of our gang members made that kind of return. What I'm suggesting to you is each one of our gang members knew of the entry point. We identified on our chart. Here is the entry point. Here is the buy signal. It was up to them if they wanted to get in or not, deciding on their own risk parameters. So please, you've got to try something this year. Try something different. Subscribe to my site. It's all about charting because it makes no sense. We're up 210 points right now because Janet Yellen, think about this, the investors have said that they don't expect the Fed to raise rates anymore this year. And we're done because of the weak economic growth of 1.7%. But Janet Yellen states over the weekend that the central bank, our central bank, her bank, the gangsters, they fully intend to maintain their schedule of interest rate increases in 2016. So is it a bit odd that the market's going up today and they're giving credit that she's not going to be raising rates? The investors say, well, she's not raising rates, so we're buying the market. When she said this weekend she is raising rates. Then we have the ECB President Mario Draghi, who is the head of their central bank in Europe, saying, oh, we're going to print all kinds of money, more money we've ever seen, and we're just going to take that cash and we're just going to pump it into the stock market, and this time it's going to work. And we're going to pump it into the... Didn't work before. Didn't work on B either, did it? So that's why they're saying the market's up 210 points. Then they said the market's up 210 points today because oil surging on the news that the number of production rigs in the United States declined more than the economists anticipated. Then they said the market was up today, it was surging because of Honeywell and United Technologies. So which one is it? Pick one, anyone, I guess. Which one is it? And that's why we don't pay attention to the noise Instead, we pay attention to, okay, let's follow Vanguard Group. Let's follow T. Rowe Price. Let's follow Bank of New York Mellon, J.P. Morgan Chase, Franklin Resources, Dodge & Cox, Northern Trust, Goldman Sachs. When they put money in, we will buy. And that's how we got 45% in copper, and we got 38% in our gold mining stock. So please subscribe and stop listening to the noise. It makes no sense. It's crazy. Now, last week, or the week before, when Savage said, and I like Savage, don't get me wrong, he was a fan of Goldman Sachs, and he couldn't understand why people weren't. Well, maybe I can help him out. Maybe I can help him. Now, Goldman Sachs and the government and the IMF are partners. Now, what they do is they screw developing countries, poor countries, to make big bucks for Goldman Sachs and to position the U.S. for military bases around the world to vote in the UN. I'll explain what that all means. Now, the United States, Goldman Sachs will send their team into the poorest of countries who are trying to better themselves, develop. They do it to steal their oil and their metals, their commodities. What Goldman Sachs does is convince a poor country, the leader, that by borrowing large sums of money from Goldman Sachs to finance their infrastructure, roads, bridges, dams, power plants, and they convince them that it will raise the country's living standards if you build the power plants and these roads and bridges. We'll loan you the money. Your standard of living is going to increase. And here is the business plan. It's going to be so easy for you to pay us back. And they send in, Goldman Sachs sends in their team of Harvard guys, their MBAs. And they overestimate on purpose the benefits. They inflate the projections. They rig the accounting. And I'll explain why they do that when we get back. And we'll also take a look at some stocks. Subscribe to Phil's Gang right now. You'll love it.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, my name is
Anybody who puts money in my pocket is my friend. And Phil Grande can do the same for you. Learn how to grow and invest your money. Here's Phil Grande.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. The market's up 217 points. We're told, well, there's many reasons why the market's up 217 points. That Yellen is, the investors say, well, Yellen's not going to raise rates the rest of the year because the economic growth was so poor. Only 1.7%, less than 2%. But yet, over the weekend, she said she's going to. Another reason why we're up 217 points, 18 points right now, is Mario Draghi, the ECB president, Central Bank of Europe, said he's going to print more money than we've ever seen in our lifetime, and they're going to shove it right into the economy of Europe, into the banks, into the stocks. See nothing like it. Then they said oil is surging because production rigs are in the United States decline more than the economists anticipate. Therefore, oil went up and the market's up. That's why it's up. Then we were told, well, no, the reason why the market's up is because Honeywell and United Technology are up. That's why. But you know what? Not one person ever said the market's up because of earnings. Not one person ever said the market's up because of top-line sales are increasing. Margins are getting better. Earnings are increasing. No more about earnings. No more about savings. And from savings comes investment. Nothing about investment either. Isn't it amazing? That's why I want you to subscribe. Because if this market's going up, I don't want you to miss it. And for you who are busy, you can follow the S&P 500, the basket of the 500 best stocks, called the Spiders. And when you join the gang, just go to that program of the gang membership, Working Investors, where every day you are coached on the Spiders. That's all. You're coached right on those Spiders. JR's there to help you every day, 1:15 in the afternoon. It's all archived. Just try that. Just try that program. And then visit all the other programs. But just that one program. Say, I'm going to follow that one program. I got a personal coach. I'm going to follow that program, see how well I do, and I'll tell you, you'll love it. You'll love it. Now, going back to Goldman Sachs, the gangsters. And I'm going to look at Goldman Sachs right now. It's one of our 5 stocks that we invest in every day. Goldman Sachs, again, we saw a sell signal. We saw a sell signal, wonderful sell signal. It came in on November 19th around $193. Today it's $139. $147 today. That's about a 20% drop. 23% drop. And you could have participated in that 23%. Why aren't you learning how to sell short? But you will once you subscribe to Phil's Gang. But Goldman Sachs, you wonder, how could their stock ever go down with the profits they make, especially screwing countries? It's amazing how they make money, these people. It's amazing. They'll take their team of MBAs, they'll go to a poor country, they'll say to them, we're here to help you, the poor country. And what we're going to do is loan to you large sums of money so we can finance for you your infrastructure, road, bridge, dams, power plants, anything you need. And they really convince them. They'll say, here's the plan. And they put this fake plan again that shows them with all the accounting tricks and everything else, inflated production, how they are going to be able to pay back this loan to Goldman Sachs so easily when it's set up so they can't pay it back, so they fail. That's right. So what happens is Goldman Sachs, with their partner in the scam, when they can't pay it back to poor country, their partner, the World Bank, the IMF, will offer the country, okay, let's give you a loan to pay back Goldman Sachs. They're going to save the poor country. And the poor country can save their credit rating by letting the World Bank loan them money to pay back Goldman Sachs. Now, Goldman Sachs gets paid off, and Goldman Sachs makes a bundle. But it doesn't end there. Now the poor country has to pay off the World Bank. Now the country has no choice when they borrow that money from the IMF or the World Bank, which is they have to sell their country's oil and gas reserves and metals and all their commodities. They have to sell them as part of the deal if they're going to loan them and bail them out. They got to sell all their mineral rights, gold, silver, platinum, to private investors. And guess who arranges that sale? Goldman Sachs. That's right. Makes a fortune. The country, the poor country, also has to agree to put in place austerity plan for their country. That's right. They have to cut their pensions, cuts in social services, cuts in employment, cuts in wages. And see, they say, that's from these savings, that's how you're going to pay us off, the IMF. Imagine this. But the country also is forced to sign a deal, sign an agreement with the United States, that they will vote with the U.S. in the UN on any issue. On any issue. They have to sign the agreement. Say, when we tell you to vote yes, you vote yes with us. We say no, you vote no. And they also have to accept, the IMF tells them they have to accept, the United States building military bases in their country, anywhere they want. Can you imagine? Now, if the country leaders refuse the plan, the CIA tries to first bribe them. If that doesn't work, the leader never shows up at home for dinner again. This is Goldman Sachs to make a bundle of money with their partner, the World Bank and the U.S. government. They have brought so much suffering to these people. It's amazing, isn't it? Now, we have an American colony called Puerto Rico. You know, it's just one of the 51 countries who are victims to this scam of Goldman Sachs and the World Bank. That's right. They have drove Puerto Rico into the ground in order to pay their loan back to the IMF. They just raised their sales tax 64% to 11.5%. Puerto Rico, their assets, their airports, their main highways, all those building structures. Guess who has a 40-year lease? Who owns these 40-year leases? A group of investors formed by who? Goldman Sachs. It's called the Goldman Sachs Infrastructure Investment Fund. Now, guess who owns most of that Goldman Sachs Infrastructure Investment Fund? It has to be a company called Carlyle Group. And who's one of the biggest owners of Carlyle Group? The Bush family. That's right. Now, I don't know if that's Christian or not, but that's what they do. That's Goldman Sachs for you. So let's take a look at some of the banks. So while the market is up 225 points, I want you to think about this. This market, with all these different reasons they gave us why it was up today, it can't stay up without the banks. So XLF is the basket of banks. It's an exchange-traded fund. Subscribe to my site tonight. You can call right now. Subscribe right now. 877-600-GANG. Denise is there. 877-600-GANG. I'll slow it down. 877-600-GANG. Subscribe. Denise will pick up the phone and she'll visit with you. Stephen, same thing. And let's get you started. Subscribe. And let's start with the Working Investor Program so that you have your personal coach every day be working with you on the banks, because again, these banks have to go up, because if they don't go up, the bank's going to go down another 10%. And also, we'll be working with you not only with the banks, but with the energy and consumer discretionary exchange traded funds. Subscribe today. We'll be right back after this break. 43 past the hour on Phil's Gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. Anybody who puts money in my pocket is my friend. And Phil Grande can do the same for you. Learn how to grow and invest your money. Here's Phil Grande.
You stay in cash and you stay in short-term bonds and you don't move out. I don't like to think about it, but I'm afraid that this might be the very beginnings of a bear market that could last for some period of time. I think it's going to be more than a mere 7 to 10% correction.
Don't you love it when these jibber-jabbers on CNBC come on? Especially these newsletter writers and these the managers for 401ks, the mutual funds, they come on CNBC. But I love the newsletter guys. They're never right, or rarely right. This guy, in October 2014, said there's going to be a correction. You heard what he said. It was in October 2014. He was 7 months too early. I turned around and 7 months later said, no, we're going to start the correction. I said, it's going to start in May of 2015. Now, he was in October of 2014. He was wrong. I said 2015, May. I confirmed it again in July. We started to short in May, the S&P at 212. We said sell short to my subscribers. And then we again confirmed it in July. Sell short. And we did. See, the problem with these educated nincompoops that you hear on CNBC and these mutual fund managers, they truly believe in economic fundamentals, following economic fundamentals. And they're right. If when they followed the economic fundamentals, and this guy did back in October 2014, oh, you wouldn't believe what they saw. You wouldn't believe. First thing they always look for is a red flag to see if there's going to be a recession. You look at the economic fundamentals. That's what these guys do. I don't. I look at charting. So they did. They looked at economic fundamentals, and they beat him. And this guy made a big mistake. Even though, when you look at the fundamentals, the first thing you look at is the health of your industrial production. Because industrial production does what? It drives our standard of living. So you try to look through three major industry sectors: manufacturing, mining, and utilities. And at that time, when he made that suggestion to sell short in October 2014, when he looked at manufacturing, mining, utilities, he found the wheels were coming off. Next, you have to identify the health of our capital goods orders. The capital goods orders, the industries that manufacture what we call durable goods, big ticket items like appliances, widescreen TVs, machinery, computers, communication equipment. And looking at that, back in 2014, October, he saw the wheels were coming off. Remember, it's that sector that is responsible for durable goods. See, these sectors are not only responsible for most of our economic growth, but more important, these sectors are also responsible for investment growth. Remember, it's a myth. It's a myth that the consumer spending accounts for 70% of our economic growth. You heard what this guy said right here.
As you know, it's been the consumer that has really kept the U.S. economy.
Now, see, that's a myth. The consumer spending that accounts for 70% of our economic growth. That's all you ever hear. And in reality, it's business investment that represents 50% of our economic productivity. That's what's important, is the investment. Business investment. It represents 50% of our economic growth. While consumer spending, the consumption represents only 30% of our economic growth. But it's not a good story. Consumption is an effect, not the cause, of a productive, healthy economy. What this guy would have found, if he didn't follow now by following the fundamentals, and he made that call, you heard him, to sell the market short. If he did what I did, forget the fundamentals. You can't follow fundamentals. Not since they deregulated the stock market. What was I looking at? I always look on a chart for the flow of money. Where is the money going? That's what charting is about. So, they made that decision these guys made that decision to make that call in October 2014 to short the market. I said, no, let's go long, let's buy it. Because what did I see? I saw the institutions were pouring money into the market. The Federal Reserve was printing money, giving it to companies to buy their own shares. The Federal Reserve was printing money, giving it to the hedge funds on Wall Street to speculate in stocks. He was right. He was looking at the fundamentals, and the fundamentals should have said this market should be going down, but it was going up 7 times faster than earnings. That's what you look at. Ever since they deregulated the market. And that's why when I made my recommendation 7 months after his failed or his ill-fated call, 7 months later, in May 2015, I identified an incredible amount of money that was flowing out of stocks. The institutions were pulling their money out. I said, let's sell short. Then, in August, or the end of July, the last week of July, it was confirmed. It was incredible, the amount of money that was coming out, the institutions. See, but these educated nincompoops that are on CNBC, these geniuses, these dopes, they don't look at the chart. Kramer used to call charting voodoo. Voodoo magic. Guess what now? You ever notice on the show? He's always teaching charting now. Because charting makes sense. Because you no longer can look at Ford and go and read all their reports and what new car they're going to build and where they're going to open new factories. It doesn't matter anymore. GM, it doesn't matter their new car line, where they're going to save money. They open in China, build cars, or New Zealand. Doesn't matter. Stocks don't go up anymore based on people having a good job, go out and spend money, and then the company makes a profit and their stock price goes up. Companies no longer have to worry about profits to make a stock go up. And that's why the market went up 200% in one of the worst economies, one of the worst recoveries we ever had. See, these educated nincompoops worry about market cap and trailing PE and forward PE. That's all you hear on CNBC. Price to sales, price to book, profit margins. Make you think they're so smart when they're talking about return on equity and return on assets. Oh boy, they're smart. I better put my money with them. And you lose money. Let me tell you something. Right now, they do that because they know the economy is so bad that companies can't make earnings. They can't make earnings. They can't sell stuff. Jobs are so bad, they can't. And with entitlements, Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, drivers of exploding federal debt, huge debt, there's nothing left over for programs like building bridges or fixing our roads. There's nothing left over. So they decided, let's create financial bubbles. They're called debt bubbles. And that's why I'm begging you to my heart. Call right now, subscribe. 877-600-GANG, subscribe. Start out with the neatest part of the program, where you're so busy, you don't have time to do anything. You just say, I'm going to start with the Working Investor Program, where I have a private coach every day with the S&P 500, the basket. Hardly any expense, 1/1800th of 1%. That's what you should start with. And then you can add another exchange traded fund, the banks, XLF. And then you can add another one. You can add consumer discretionary. All these are exchange traded funds. Start with the first one with your private coach. And once you get a handle of it and you see, boy, this really works, then you can add other sectors. Don't listen anymore about this stuff. It's crazy. So subscribe now. 877-600-GANG, and Denise will take your call, and so won't Steven. We'll see you on the charts. Tomorrow we'll talk about the super delegates, how the Democrats will screw Bernie Sanders.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me to